Hi guys, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we are back with part 2 of our baby alien Yoda. And we are going to be working with the same yarn that we did yesterday, and today we're going to be working on the body and the hands, and we might try to get even some more done, so we'll see. But again, if you weren't able to watch my first video yet, we are using this I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby in the color aquamarine. Okay, so, and I have a skein here that's already been opened and used, so I'm going to start with that. You will need a stitch marker for this, and we are using a 5mm hook. You also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a magic circle. If you don't know how to do a magic circle, I showed how to do that in part 1. I also showed how to do a mock magic circle in case you're not comfortable with the magic circle. So we're going to start with the magic circle, and we're going to put 6 single crochets in that magic circle. So let's pull this down. And then we're going to put 6 single crochets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then we'll tighten that up. And then we will be working in the round just like we did with the head. And so then we're going to go right into our first stitch here, and we're going to put 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a stitch count of 12. So we just have our 2, there's 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and 11 and 12. Okay, so now I'm going to put the stitch marker in so we don't lose our count. And our next row, and this again is very much like the head, we're just going to be doing a lot of increasing and decreasing. So I showed how to do increases and decreases in my last video. So what I'll do is I'll go through some with you, and then some we'll do off camera, okay? But so we did the 2 around, and now we're going to do the 1 and 2. So we're going to go right into our first stitch here and put 1 single crochet, and go into the next and put 2 single crochets. Go into the next and put 1 single crochet, and go into the next and put 2 single crochets. You're going to do that all the way around for a stitch count of 18. And just so you know, with every round that we do, because we started with 6 in our magic circle, you're going to be going up by 6. So that's your stitch count is going to change by 6 every time. So that lets you know you don't really need to have a stitch count for each one, and that'll also help you if you want to develop your own pattern. Then you'll know what the count should be. So when we finish this one, we'll have 18, and then if we add 6 to 18, we know that by the next one we should have 24, and then add 6 to 24, and then you would have 30, and so on and so forth. For each round of increase, that's how that works. Okay, so now we did our 1 and 2, and we have 18. So now we're going to do our 2 and 2. So we're going to go into our next stitch and put 1 single crochet, into our next stitch put 1 single crochet, and into the next we're going to put 2 single crochets, and into the next 1 single crochet, into the next 1 single crochet, and into the next 2 single crochets. Just do that all the way around for a stitch count of 24. So 1 and 1 and then 2. and one, and one, and two. Sorry guys, that's my igloo ice maker in the background. It's very noisy. One, and then for every round you should end on your increase of 2, right where your stitch marker is. Okay, and then you'll put your stitch marker back. And now we're up to our 3 and 2 increase, okay? So this is the last one I'm going to do with you on camera, and then right up here in the corner, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to put it in the written directions up in the corner so you'll know what to do after we're done with this, okay? But now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 2, 3, and in this next one we're going to put 2 single crochets, and then again 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 single crochets. And you just keep doing that. And I've said this in other videos, but if you're new to my channel, I just want to let you know that if for some reason you don't end up with the count that you need by the end of this, or it's not right, if you know that you need 30 stitches, just make sure that you have 30. So if you get to the end and you need to add a couple or take some away because you've made a mistake, you can do that as long as you end up with 30 for this round, or, you know, if it was the other round, 18 or 24 and multiples of 6, just remember that so you don't have to redo it. You don't have to undo your work. Okay, and we're up to our last 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll take our stitch marker out and put our last increase right here of 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so now we've increased up to 3 and 2. We're going to put our stitch marker right back. And now what I want you to do is increase to 7 and 2. So we just finished 3 and 2, so you need to do 4 and 2 increase, 5 and 2 increase, 6 and 2 increase, and 7 and 2 increase. And when you get done with that, I'll meet you right back here, okay? Okay guys, so you should have just finished your 7 and 2 increase. So you should have gone around with 7 single crochets and 2 in the next one for this last increase round. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 rows of half double crochet. So I just want to show you a round of that real quick so you can see what it looks like. So you're just, in case you don't know how to do a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, go into this first available stitch here, pull up your yarn, and go through all 3 loops on your hook. That is a half double crochet. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay? Just like this. Just want to show you what it looks like, and it'll start turning and flipping. You want to make sure that this part is your outer portion, so you want to fold it up this way as you go along. And something I didn't mention yesterday, I'll mention today as we go around with these half double crochets, because I know you can do it now. You do want to make sure that you do these any kind of amigurumi, you want to try to work as tightly as you can with your stitches, because you will be stuffing these and you don't want to see the stuffing through it. And when you do half double crochets, or anything besides a single crochet in amigurumi, some people just won't do it because they're afraid. But as you can see, these half double crochets, they stay pretty close together, and I like the way it looks, and it makes the pattern work up more quickly, because this is very time consuming with all these single crochets in here. So it turns out really good. if you're not comfortable with doing half double crochets with amigurumi and you've done a lot of amigurumi and you just don't like it, we're doing 6 rows of half double crochet, but if you wanted to do single crochet, you would need like 12 rows of single crochet because it doubles, pretty much doubles the size there. So like there would be like 2 single crochets stacked together. Okay, so I'm just going to go around. But yeah, even if you're not doing the half double crochets, even with the single crochets, you need to try to work as tightly as you possibly can. As you saw with the head yesterday, as you get to the end, after you started stuffing it, they will move apart a little bit, unfortunately, and there's nothing you can do about that. But that's usually at the end of whatever you're working on, and so you're usually going to be sewing pieces together, so that's helpful in hiding that. And there's really nothing you can do about that because it does gape a little bit as you add the stuffing. Okay, so now we're on our last half double crochet for this round, and then I would just put my stitch marker back. So like I said, we need a total of 6 rounds of half double crochet. So we've done 1. So I'd like you to do 5 more of those rounds of half double crochet, and then I'll meet you back. Okay? Okay, guys. So you should have just now finished your 7 rows of half double crochet, and now we're going to start doing some decreases. So I'm going to do a round of that with you and show you what it looks like. But now we're going to go back to our single crochets again for our decrease round. So we've put our stitch marker right back where it should be, so we're going to go into our next stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet in the next 7. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you're going to do an invisible decrease. And if you didn't see my part 1, the way to do that is you will go through the front loop of your next stitch, and then you will go to the front loop of this stitch. Then you will yarn over, go through both of those, and then go through the 2 loops there on your hook. And again, you will single crochet in the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then you will do another decrease. So going through the front loop only here, and the front loop only here, and then yarn over, pull through both of those. You have 2 loops on your hook, go through both. Okay, and again 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and again another decrease, going through the front loop here in this stitch, going through the front loop of the next stitch, pulling your yarn through those 2 loops on your hook, go through both loops, and again back to doing a single crochet in the next 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then another decrease, or 2 together, however you want to call it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then 2 together or decrease. I just call it a decrease, but a lot of people will call it 2 together. That is how it's written in patterns. Okay, and again 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then our last 2 will be here. There's 1, and then where our stitch marker is, pull your stitch marker out, and then you will work 2 together or a decrease in these last 2. So I'll go through the front loop of here, front loop of there, pull through, go through both loops, and then that's where I'll put my stitch marker now, is that in that decrease that we just created, that 2 together. Okay, so we'll put our stitch marker back here, and then we will continue decreasing. So we just did our 7 and 2 together, decrease. Then you will do 6 and 2 together, 5 and 2 together, and 4 and 2 together. So after you finish that 4 and 2 decrease, we'll meet back up again, okay? Okay guys, so you should have just finished your 4 and 2 decrease, or your 4 and 2 together. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of half double crochet. So I'm going to do 1 row with you and show you what it looks like. So this is what it should look like so far for you. It's going to look really weird. If you flatten it out, that's what it looks like. And if it's open, it just looks kind of funky, like a little bowl or something. This is the bottom area, and then we're slowly working our way up toward the torso. So this is just what it should look like. So now we're going to start working on some rows of half double crochet to give us some body here. So we're just going to go right into our next stitch and work a half double crochet, and you're going to do that all the way around. And so you were doing single crochets for those decrease rounds, and then you just go right back to doing half double crochet. Going to do that all the way around here. Okay, so we're just down here to the bottom now. We're going to remove that stitch marker, put our last half double crochet right there for that round, and then put our stitch marker right back where it's right there. Okay, so we've done 1 round of half double crochet, so you need 3 more, and after you finish those 3 rounds of half double crochet, I'll meet you back. Okay guys, so you should have just completed your 4 rounds of half double crochet, and I went ahead and started stuffing mine. I wanted you to see what it looks like, because it looks smaller than what it's supposed to be. Once you start stuffing it, it starts getting quite a bit bigger, obviously, but it looks much shorter. So I just wanted you to see what it looked like with some stuffing in it, and you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that as well. But what I want you to do now is do 2 more rows of half double crochet. So you've done 4, so you're just like we've been doing, we're just going to go around for 2 more rounds of half double crochet, just like this. and then I'll meet you back up again when you get done with these 2 rounds. Okay, so you should have just completed your 2 rounds of half double crochet. So in total you had 6 after our decreases. So now what we're going to do is work 1 more round of decrease. We're going to go into the next 3 stitches working single crochets and put 3 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So 1 single crochet in the next 3. And then we're going to do your 2 together, your decrease. So you're going to go in the front loop of your next 2 stitches, pull through and go through both loops. And again, we're going to do 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together. And that's your repeat for this round. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together. 1, 2, and 3, and 2 together. One, 2, and 3, and 2 together. Okay, so now all we're going to do, now that we finished that round of our 3 and 2 together, is we're just going to do 1 single crochet all the way around, and that will finish off our body. And I'm going to try to finish stuffing that, and it's going to be hard to show on camera because this has gotten really tall now, but it's basically the same as the way I showed you in part 1 for the head. You want to make sure that you get into every corner and make sure that you use your hands to mold the body, and make sure that you use enough stuffing because you want it to be nice and sturdy, because this is what our head is going to sit atop. And when you get done here with your row of single crochet, you want to leave a long tail, because you're going to be using that to work the head on, okay? So that's what it looks like. I'm having to turn it to the side so you can see, okay? But so then you would leave, I don't know, probably about 2 feet I would leave. Maybe more if you feel like you need it, because you might need to go around the head more than once to make sure that it's nice and sturdy. Sorry, I'm kind of going off camera here. And I've got myself turned around. There we go. So all I want you to do is just go into your very next stitch and do a slip stitch and then pull through. Okay, and then we've got a nice long tail. And now we're just going to finish stuffing this. So I'll just do a little bit of this with you on camera, because as I said, it's going to be hard to see. But you just, you know, get it down in there, mold your fingers around. Try to get it as much down as you can so it gets that same feeling that the head had. And then, like I said, one of the ways to know is when you get to the top, if there's any springing back out, then you know that you've got enough in there. Okay. So you would just keep filling that up until it gets as full as you would like it to be. And there you go, that's what it looks like. And then let me raise my camera up a little bit. Still got a Sanny on the table. Then this head would fit, and this still needs to be stuffed some more. But the head would, there's the mouth right there, and the head would just sit just like this, right on top of the body. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And I will have a video where I show how to put everything together. But right now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go off camera, finish stuffing this up. Remember, you wanna leave this open, you know, you don't wanna get this closed all the way because the head's gonna sit just like that on top of it. So I'm gonna finish stuffing this and then we're gonna come back together again and do the hands. So see you in just a minute. Okay guys, so now we're back and we're gonna get started on the hand, and the hand is pretty easy. All we're going to do, we're still using a 5mm hook and we're still using our aquamarine yarn. And all we're going to do is start with a magic circle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're going to close up your magic circle, and we're going to be working in the round. You will need a stitch marker. Okay, but for this first one, we won't need one because we know what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 single crochets in each round. So we're going to go into this first single crochet here, and we're going to put 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and we're going to put 2 in each round, which leaves a stitch count of 12. So there's 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12. Okay? And then you will need to put a stitch marker in now. So I'm going to get just a little piece of yarn from over here to use as my stitch marker. And then what we're going to do now is our 1 and 2s around for a stitch count of 18. So you're going to go into your first stitch, put 1 single crochet, go into the next and put 2 single crochets, go into the next and put 1 single crochet, go into the next and put 2 single crochets, into the next one, into the next 2, and just do that all the way around. And we're here at the end, and we pull our stitch marker out and we put our last increase right here of 2. Okay, and we put our stitch marker back, and that's all the increases we're going to do, because now we're just going to start doing several rounds of half double crochet. So we're going to do 10 rounds of half double crochet. I'm going to do one with you so you can see what it looks like, but again, you yarn over, go into your stitch, pull up your yarn, and go through all 3 loops on your hook for a half double crochet, and you just keep doing that all the way around until you land on your stitch marker. And so that should be 18 half double crochets around. And as you do these, you're going to start noticing your work is going to turn in. Make sure that you have the good part out, meaning, hold on just a second, I'll show you what that means. But basically, this needs to be turned this way. So make sure that this part is out and that is in. then we're here, we pull our stitch marker out, put our half double crochet there for the end of that round. And then we put our stitch marker back. Now, like I said, there's 10 rows of this all together, so you just did one. So you need 9 more rows of half double crochet. And when you get done with that, we'll meet back up again together. Okay, so we just finished with our 10 rounds of half double crochet, and this is what it should look like. Okay, and now we're going to start on the fingers. Okay, so I want you to turn your work this way, keep your stitch marker in there, and then I want you to count back 6, okay, from where you started. So or you stopped. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and right in that 6th one from going backwards, you're going to put a slip stitch in there. Okay, just like that. And then you're going to chain 1. And then you're going to start doing single crochets going back the other way all the way around. And this is for the fingers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right here on this one, you don't want to miss that one either. That was our chain 1, 6, and then you're just going to keep going around and round, and I'll count till we get to where we need to end. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And after you finish that 12th single crochet, you're now going to want to do some decreases. We're not going to do the invisible decreases we did before because it's a little too hard to work into these here because it's such a small area, surface area. So to do a decrease for these, you're just going to go right into the stitch, pull through your yarn, go into the other stitch, pull through your yarn, and then go through all 3 on your hook. Okay, and then you're going to do that again. That was 1. And that's 2. And then 1 more time. So that means in total we did 3. Now, it's not going to look complete there. There's still going to be a little bit of an opening. That's okay, because we're going to come back to the top and I'm going to show you how to sew those in to where they're going to look like little fingers. Right now they look a little bit pointy. Okay, so then you're going to leave enough on the end to work in. Okay, and then you're just going to tie off just like that. Okay, so that's 1 finger. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so we've cut off our yarn, so that means we need to bring in our yarn again, and we're going to come right here, right beside the finger that we just finished, and we're just going to simply bring in our yarn. Okay, and then we're going to, right in that same place we brought in our yarn, do another single crochet. So there's 1, and then in the next one there's another single crochet, and the next one there's another single crochet for 3. Then we're going to look at the other side and we're going to count 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go right into there and do a slip stitch. And you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do just like you did before. We're going to single crochet around. So let's count. 1, 2, and then we're going to go over to the other side. And there's 3. So we're working around in a circle. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now we're going to start decreasing around, just like we did on the other one. So we're going to go into our next stitch, pull up our yarn, go into our next stitch, pull up our yarn, and go through all 3. And again, next stitch, pull up our yarn, next stitch, pull up our yarn. And these are kind of hard to get into. Okay, and then we're going to do one more. And then we'll go through both of those. Sorry if that was a little off focus. And then, just like you did before, you're going to leave a long string straggly at the end. Pull it through, and that will leave a place. You will not only have a place here at the top, but you'll also have a place in between the fingers. But we're going to sew that up with all these scragglies that we have left, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now we finished 2 of our fingers and we've crocheted up here, so we need to stuff this. So I'm going to leave this one finger undone and I'm going to put the stuffing in. I'm going to show you how to do that. Sorry for the crinkly paper. So I'm going to take my stuffing and I'm just going to work into this little place here, which is really plenty. I think it works best to do it this way, actually, to get these 2 fingers done and then go in. Now these don't have to, the arms, they don't have to be super stuffed. You do want them stuffed, but the more you stuff them, they don't become very manageable once you put them, sew them on. So you don't want them overstuffed because you want them to be, you know, a little movable, unlike the head and the body. I think we need just a little bit more. So I'll put just a little bit more in here. Okay, so now we're going to bring our yarn in again, just like we were doing for the other fingers. So we're going to come right here beside our last finger. We're going to bring in our yarn. Okay, and then right there we're going to do 1, and then this time, because this is all we have left here, we're just simply going to go around. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you're just going to go right back around to the other side, just like we were doing before, right where you first started. Do a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to simply single crochet all the way around in a circle again, counting up to 12. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then again, we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to go into our next 2 stitches and do 2 together, and then into our next 2, and do 2 together, and then finally we have 1 more that we need to do. And then you leave a little bit of to work in there at the bottom, a little scraggly piece, and then just pull through. And then you've got all your 3 fingers done, okay? So now all you need to do is we need to sew these in down to the top of them, which is gonna make them look more like fingers. So let me show you how to do this. So you're gonna take your darning needle and you're going to thread your yarn into there. And then you're simply going to take this and go right down into the middle, right down into the top of your finger and out the other side, just like this. And then when you do that, it makes it go down and not as pointy, okay? So I'm just gonna pull on that a little bit, and did you see it made it go down further? And that's just pushing that back down in and getting rid of any gapping that we had. So I'm gonna go right back up through there again. And then I'm gonna go over here to where I see that we had a space open in between those 2 fingers. And then we're going to go through. So this is similar to making gloves. If you've crocheted gloves before, a lot of times there's a gap left in the fingers where you're sewing. And so then we're just gonna sew that up together, and then we're gonna go back down into the piece, and then we're going to do our 3 to make sure it's secure, going in and out of the same place. You see? And I'll just do it one more time. Just like that. And now I can pull tight and cut off, okay? And we're just gonna do this for all the fingers. So then we're gonna go right back into the middle again, just like this, just like we did before, and do it pretty tightly. So to make it look more like a finger. And then we're gonna go right back in again to secure it. And then we're gonna come right back up to here where we need to sew this together. Okay, so we're just gonna sew this over here together. And it closes up really easily. And then we're gonna again go back and secure this, going in and out of the same spot, okay? And then again, pull, and then cut. And then we have 1 finger left, and we're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to work in all of our little scragglies and ends that we have from doing our fingers. So again, we're just gonna go right through the top here of the finger, come out down at the end, and then pull that. And as you can see, it just pulls it right in. Okay, and we already have those sewn up together. So now all we need to do is just push this one back and forth in between, making sure to go right back into the same place so that you can't see the stitches on the outside. Just like that. So let's go ahead and work in these pieces so that you can see exactly what the little hand will look like. So we're just gonna go and work these into the middle so they don't come undone. And when you pull tight there at the end, it makes it spring back inside the amigurumi that you're working on. Okay, so this is our last little piece to work in. And it's a little scraggly piece, so we're just gonna work it in twice. It should still suffice. Pull tight, and then it'll spring back in again. And look at that, we have the cutest little alien hand. Okay, and so you're going to need 2 of these exactly the same. And I've got a mess on my little table here, but I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. And I want to show you how these fit on the sides. I know a lot of people don't want to wait to, you know, work these on, but these go just a little bit further down, just a couple rows down, and they lay flat on each side. And then we'll, of course, make our robe, which will go around all of that, okay? So that's gonna wrap that up for this video. And my next video is going to be the robe, the little scarf, and then putting it all together. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. I do wanna remind you that I've gotten a lot of messages asking if this will, you know, if they can get the written pattern. And I stated in my first video that this will never be a written pattern, and it will not be for sale. So the only way to get this pattern is in the video. And I'm sorry if that is an inconvenience for you guys, but that's just the way that it's gonna have to be done for this. So I hope you do enjoy the videos, and like I said previously, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps so much. If you're a part of any crochet groups, or if you have any friends that would be interested, please feel free to share, and I would enjoy that so much. And also, please note that if you make this Yoda and you sell it, of course, then that's fine. That's what we all do. We get on YouTube and we make all these wonderful projects. All I ask is that you give a heads up to the creator of the pattern. I would hope that you would do that for anything that you create. And also, if you do, please don't sell this pattern. So I put that in my other video as just as a disclaimer. So anyways, but like I said before in my other video, I know that all of my viewers are just honest, sincere, wonderful people, and I love talking to every one of you so much. If you get a chance, please watch an ad or two. That helps so much for the material costs for these videos, because like I said, yarn is expensive and everything that goes with it. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Happy crocheting. I hope 2020 is already starting out wonderful for you, and I will see you again soon for our part 3 of our little baby Ella alien Yoda. Okay, bye-bye, guys. Happy crocheting.